Okay, are we ready, everybody? Annette, I believe you asked to speak. Please come forward.
Mine's very quick, or hopefully will be. Can I firstly say that I agree with Mr. Smith online, and it's something I'd already written on my notes. There is absolutely no point in having a behaviour policy when councillors do not adhere to your own code of conduct. You can't tell the public not to make things personal and to pinpoint people out in the public gallery if you're not going to do it yourself. You just can't do it. You can't tell the public to not mention councillors and then you yourself picked me out. I was nothing to do with your debate with Mrs. Townsend, but straight away you chose to bully me instead of keeping to the topic that Mrs. Townsend was talking about. That's not fair. So I'm sorry, you've got to bring yourself into line. And it's all very well keep mentioning the code of conduct and taking complaints further with North Somerset Council. But as I've already raised, and Councillor Blackmore, well done for tonight. Oh, it's like a breath of fresh air having you in the council. As I've already raised with her, the code of conduct and complaints in North Somerset Council are only relevant if the monitoring officer investigates a breach of the code of conduct. Your social media policy was an extension of the code of conduct and therefore can be raised as a complaint. Your behaviour policy, I haven't had a chance to read it all through, but could you please confirm after I've spoken whether it is an extension of the code of conduct? If it is not, then we can't go to the monitoring officer to complain about it. And one other item I'd mention about the code of conduct and taking things to the monitoring officer is Councillor Janet Davey, before becoming a councillor, and I've got the copy of what she said, and I'll send it to you, said that going to the complaints department in North Somerset Council is a waste of time. If a councillor on this council thinks it's a waste of time, then what hope is there for members of the public? And also what you did tonight in pinpointing me out when I was nothing to do with the debate, you actually did what the excellent Councillor Aldridge reprimanded Bob Cartwright for doing many times. That's the fairness that we want back in these meetings. So yes, it's lovely to hear that you're going to listen to the public, but you've got to try and take yourself into account. And why, when something happens, like what happened to Ken Smith and Paul Maltby at the last town council meeting, why is it the public have got to raise things? Do you not feel that you ought to be accountable to yourselves as well as the town? It's not down to the public to do that. And as I pointed out at the Community Matters meeting, at what point would it get so bad that you'd actually stop something? And I must admit, I saw the email exchange and you actually said to Paul Maltby in a separate email that you agreed with what Mike Johnson did. But your councillor tonight said he didn't. So there is a bit of a controversy in the council. You have got to be...
I'm sorry, Annette. I just have to butt in on that one
afterwards, please, because it stops the frame and it means that we can't carry on.
I know it's very difficult. I know, but what you've done is you've taken two different subjects and you've put them together. So I have never once said that I agreed with anything that was in the email that Mike sent. I did, however, send a very lengthy email to Mr. Maltby regarding the behaviour that happened in the meeting in question.
What he did. You agreed with what he did. You said there was nothing wrong with what he did, but I'm not going to go into that. So with regard to your behaviour policy, I would just like to raise one item that I've seen on it, which I've managed to read, and that is that it says filming of council meetings, brackets with prior notice to the clerk. Can I remind Portishead Town Council yet again, and I've done it at many, many meetings, the government legislation that allows us to record also allows us to do so without prior notification to anybody. And I want to make sure that that is in your behaviour policy. We do not need to notify in advance. As long as we're doing so out of the way, we're not obstructing the meeting, that is the legislation, and legislation overrides your town council policy. So please make sure that that's corrected. I would like to remind this town council that after the hijacking of the Portishead residents' annual meeting by the Portishead Independent Political Party, leaving little time for the residents to speak, with many walking out in disgust and many walking out after raising their objections verbally, the man in the chairman's seat, you, Mr. Whitfield, actually said that another residents' meeting could be arranged because there was no time left for the residents. You just seem really confused about the residents' meeting tonight. Yes, that one, the annual meeting, is one in statute, and it's one that you have got to arrange. But you yourself said that we can arrange another meeting. Thank goodness for Heather Toms, who's put forward that way forward. And I agree with everything that Chris Clark has said, because at the moment, this town council is broken. It's broken by the controlling party and it needs to move forward. And I believe we've got good councillors, but you've got to keep to the same standards of behaviour that you expect from the public. You've got to do it yourself. Now, on the 19th of June, 2024, yes, there was a full town council meeting in this hall. I think it just had 3 members of the public present with 1 online. So few because the Portishead residents' annual meeting, which was hijacked, deterred many from ever attending council meetings again. And in fact, I said I would never come along to another one. Partly as well because I know that we lost the 2 best councillors that we have had in this council for 5 years, and that was Councillor Aldridge and Churchill. The Community Matters meeting, however, is a safe environment. I feel quite able to go along to that meeting because it feels to me that the chair is listening, she is professional, and she allows people to talk. Of course, she wouldn't allow poor behaviour. Nobody should allow poor behaviour. But we have it at these full council meetings. And the common factor is that the full council meetings aren't chaired by Councillor Blackmore. I wish she was chair of this town council. After watching the video of the meeting on the 19th of June, it seems that residents do need some protection and it is an unsafe environment. I felt it tonight. When you pinpointed me out, I felt unsafe. I felt I was being bullied by you, Mr. Whitfield. So protection from verbal abuse is important. I said previously, when we lost our two town councils, our town council leaders, that I felt, no, I won't come along again. But it seems from that, looking at that video, I feel as if I do need to come along to make sure that the same thing doesn't happen to any other residents. And also, Mr. Smith on that evening rightfully said to you, when you tried to throw him out of the meeting, he said, no, I won't go because I've done nothing wrong. And that is a fact. He had done nothing wrong. He was trying to correct misinformation that had been given at that residents' meeting by your party leader. He was also given it because at a previous town council meeting, residents had been told that the agenda had been broadened out so public participation could cover topics that were not on the agenda. Fact. Yet you consistently said at the last meeting, no, you can't speak on items not on the agenda. You called it off-piste, whatever that may mean. But Ken Smith did nothing wrong. Paul Mortby did nothing wrong. They were polite. They didn't shout at you. They didn't shout at Mr. Johnston, but he shouted back. And when I saw Ken Smith actually after that meeting, I wasn't at the meeting, but I saw him afterwards, And I was so saddened by what had happened. For someone to speak to someone like a resident who's vulnerable. Now, you might not consider him vulnerable, but up against you and the vice chairman, he was a very vulnerable man, but he was strong enough and able enough to say, no, I've done nothing wrong. Thank goodness he did. Now, your own town council colleagues stood by and watched that. Not one said this is out of order. That is where you have to make amends. You have got to start saying to each other, we can't allow that sort of behaviour going on in our town because it's wrong. We also can't allow councillors using social media to cause a furore that caused a lot of consternation, that led you to actually give out an apology. Because it confused people, it made people angry, and you've got a social media policy. And you actually say you're talking as a district council on that page of yours. Well, if you're talking in a district council, people think you're also talking as a town councillor. So I think what you need to have on there is that you're not speaking, which is in your social media policy, town council social media policy, you need to make it clear you're not speaking as a town councillor. Because until you do, you'll start making people very angry by what is happening. And it's moderated by one of your colleagues. It's unbelievable, really, that it goes on. And can I just say, as a personal thing, anything I do outside this meeting, I'm not a councillor. I don't have to adhere to your code of conduct. But I have never, ever sat in this meeting. I've never sworn. I've never got angry. I've always raised things respectfully. You may not like what I've said. And in fact, when a previous councillor sat there, telling things that weren't correct, he was from a different political party, I stuck to my guns, because why should I let my town, where I've been born and bred, be lied to by any councillors? I won't allow it. But I'll always raise it respectfully. You may not like it, but I will continue to do it. But I will never allow you to bully or intimidate or harass anyone. And when I say you, I mean the council, ever again, because it was appalling, and people that have watched it could not believe what was going on. And until you confirm now that the new behaviour policy is an extension of the code of conduct, there is nothing we can do about it. So could you please now just confirm to us that it's an extension, not an enhancement, an extension, so that people in future can take things to the monitoring officer and raise a complaint if they want to.
Is that everything, or do you have more to say?
The only thing I want to raise is, are you going to, as Mr. Maltby and Mr. Smith were doing what they were supposed to do, they were not breaking any rules, they weren't breaking any behaviour conduct expected of them, can we now expect that you'll give an apology to Mr. Maltby and to Mr. Smith, who at the moment actually lies in hospital? And he is a vulnerable resident of this town. He didn't deserve the treatment he got on the 19th of June in this meeting by the chairman and the vice chairman. So will he get an apology? 2 questions. Will he get an apology? Will Paul Maltby get an apology? And can you just confirm whether it's an extension of the code of conduct, please? Thank you.
So not an extension of the code of conduct, because we wouldn't have the authority to do that. The code of conduct lies above this this council.
No, that's not correct. Sorry. Your social media policy states very clear. I've checked this with the monitor. I've spoken to Nicholas Bray. The social media policy states specifically it is an extension of the code of conduct. The behaviour policy, if it doesn't, means that residents have no right of complaint.
Residents have a right of complaint, as you know.
No, we don't.
Through the monitoring officer.
Oh, is he not listening?
No, I am listening.
You just said to me.
Annette, I so missed this. I know you've been away for a couple of months. But honestly,
you just said to me you cannot put it in the behaviour policy that it's the extension of the code of conduct. But you
that's my understanding.
You put it in the social media policy.
Okay, as I say, that's my understanding.
But does it make sense? It
I-
doesn't make sense.
I can take that away and check it.
Well, I'd like the clerk to check it because I trust the clerk to go away, look at things. It's in the social media policy. So how can it not go into the behaviour policy? If it doesn't go into the behaviour policy, then according to the monitoring officer, we cannot complain about the behaviour of a councillor who is in these meetings.
So, as
It's
I say,
simple as that.
I'll take that away and check it.
Thank you. That's a better answer than what I got before.
What that actually means is that I'll take it away. I'll speak to the clerk about it, and she'll check it, of course, because the town council will check it. Yes, the clerk represents the town council. She'll check it, but we'll do that. Yes, we will check that. Yes, we will come back with an answer.
Well, that's a better answer than I got before when you told me it was impossible to put it on.
Well, that was my understanding, but as you say, I may not be right. So let's go.
Well, you're
check
not
it.
right. But can I also, the other question was, are you going to give an apology to Mr. Maltby and Mr. Smith because they didn't break any rules or any courtesy or respectfulness by just asking for to correct something that you put wrong at the residents' meeting?
We're going to take it away, as we've already said. The business.
I had a.
We are going to go.
Sorry, Paul. Let's just draw the line here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to answer you. You keep trying to put words in my mouth. Let's not do that. I'm not doing that to you. Don't do it to me, please. Okay, so Mr. Maltby wrote in regarding the incident, and he received a response. I believe that the matter is dealt with. And if there's nobody else for public participation, we will see if we can get through some other items on the agenda. Thank you very much.
Can we do the committee stuff and sort that out?
Sorry, yeah, there is too much on this agenda at 10 o'clock at night for us to get through the rest of it now. So you can, but equally there's other district councillors here who aren't going to get an opportunity to give their reports. I think we're going to have to just do the bare minimum and reconvene this at a later date, because the clerk has to travel home as well. We live locally. I'm not sure she lives quite as locally as us, so you know we have to be reasonable about this. If that's okay, or you can leave it. I don't know.
On item 19, Waterside Stadium Arena, because of my background, I know that I'm not a councillor, I'm not an elected individual, but I know the process. And if I could just advise the council, they're talking about putting
sorry, Chris.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. I think you missed the point here. It's 10 o'clock at night. I know. So these items are very important. But they're going to have to be the subject of another meeting because we don't have time to do them now. And I'm so sorry about that. But public participation took a lot longer than expected, as did the two presentations that we had prior to the meeting. So I think it's only fair and reasonable that that we do the bare minimum here and then come back, because that subject is massive and it really needs more than just a couple of minutes snatched at the end of a meeting.
It could be dealt with very, very quickly. Risk assessments first, not fences. That's all I want to say. Full risk assessments of the marina, not fences by North Somerset Council. If you want to say more about it, then fine.
Okay,
I'll reach out to you, Chris, and I'm sure David will as well. We're doing a lot of work on it and we would really value your input. So thank you.
so we're gonna do the committees and then adjourn and put another one in. How quickly can we get another meeting in? You have to look through the calendar. I know. So no, sorry, don't. We're gonna have to do another one, aren't we? So we should just give me the item number. I'm getting tired now. Okay, so let's quickly do item 15 on the agenda. Portishead Football Club, release of funds towards new pitch, to approve the release of funds for Portishead Football Club towards the new 3G pitch, as previously agreed at £30,000. To confirm the monies are to be released from the SIL fund. Recommendation is to approve the release of funds for the Portishead Football Club towards the new 3G pitch, as previously agreed at £30,000. To confirm the monies are to be released from the SIL fund. I'm happy to propose that. Do I get a seconder? I think Tim was first there. Anyone wish to speak for or against it? Move to a vote then. All those in favour, please show your hands. That's great. Which 10. It's awful when you got to jump around it now. This is a long one as well. Councillor membership of committees, working groups and council representatives, to confirm that Councillor B. Cartwright will withdraw as a member of the Staffing and Finance Committee. To confirm that Councillor John Davey will withdraw as a member of the Planning Advisory Committee. To confirm that Roger Whitfield will withdraw.
Just trying to save your time in reading them out because there's some amendments to it. So I don't know if we need to do that first. So we just read out what exactly we need to do.
Yeah, we have to have a proposal to amend.
Yeah, we can do a
So
proposal.
is everyone happy to take it as read on the agenda? Okay, is there anybody still online who may not have an agenda? Mr. Smith, do you want it read out, or are you happy for us to proceed as written?
Carry on, that's fine.
Okay, so if we proceed as written, then I'll propose. Anybody wish to second? Okay, and any amendments? Emma?
So the amendments that we have are second. So for the Planning Advisory Committee, both John and myself were withdrawing, and Marianne was taking my place.
Right.
And then for the wellbeing, Janet is the wellbeing lead, and Mariam is joining as a wellbeing addition. Support, yeah, if that's the right way. And then for the public engagement working group, both yourself, Roger, and Bob are stepping back.
I don't know. Has Bob confirmed that he's stepping back?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Yes.
And Paul and Janet are joining.
Perfect.
Yeah. I think that's all of the amendments.
Okay. So do we vote on the proposal? Oh, so you propose that. Do I have a seconder for the amendments? Can we go straight? So vote on the amendment, then on the original. Right, so on the amendment, all those in favour, please raise your hands. That's unanimous. Do we have to vote on the
remaining? Yeah.
Yep, and then to vote on the
I'll sort the rest of it out.
on the so all those in favour of the recommendation, hands up. Thank you very much. Job done. Right, okay. So it's a pain, isn't it? Is everyone happy that we end this meeting now and reconvene at the earliest possible opportunity to finish off the rest of the items on the agenda?
Can we not just pass the two motions because everything else is informational, so therefore it's not so important. There's a couple of motions that need to be agreed from Janet and
I know we haven't done the things that we should have, like the minutes of the previous meetings and things like that. So I guess even if we go for the two motions now, we're still going to have to do the other bits, aren't we, at some stage?
Can we not do that's going to take like 2 minutes to do all this, the motions and the minutes, and then we're just left with informational stuff.
Okay, great. If everyone's happy with that, can anyone object to that? Let's do it that way. No, let's carry on then. Sorry, can you give me the motion number?
It's 11.
Item 11. Motions from councillors proposed by Councillor Janet Davey and seconded by Councillor Alan George. In view of the lack of visible policing in Portishead, we wish to invite the Police and Crime Commissioner, Claire Moody, to discuss with this issue with Portishead Town councillors. Should we just take that one first? So all those in favour? Unanimous. Motion proposed by Councillor Roger Whitfield, whoever he is, and seconded by Councillor John Davey to invite the local MP to meet town councillors and join a future meeting of the town council. All those in favour? Unanimous. Does that get us through? Oh, should we just do it? Item 16. Parking enforcement, non-renewal of contract, to approve that the town clerk has written to North Somerset Council to confirm that the parking enforcement contract will not be renewed at the end of August 2024. Recommendation to approve that the clerk has written to all those in favour. There we go. Did we have to propose and second that? So I'll propose it, a seconder. All those in favour again. Lovely. Thank you. Item 9. I'm jumping around all over the place here. Oh yeah, no, we've got to do that one, haven't we? Councillor non-attendance, to inform the town council that due to non-attendance of meetings over a 6-month period from March to September 2024, Carol Preston, Portishead Westward, is no longer a town councillor. Local Government Act 1972, Section 87. The Electoral Authority, North Somerset Council, will be informed and the due process will start for a replacement councillor. Recommendation to note that Carol Preston is no longer a town councillor. Proposer? Yeah, I'll propose it. Seconder. All those in favour? Okay, so for anyone who's still awake at this stage, that means that there will be an election or a co-option, and as mentioned earlier in the meeting, we should all do our best to make sure people in that ward are aware of what their options are. Okay, that's great. Number 8, to consider and approve the minutes of the last council meeting held on the 19th of June 2024. Does anybody have any problems with this or any amendments they would like to make? All those in favour of me signing, is it a correct record of that meeting? Janet abstains because she probably wasn't there. Right, that's fine. Anything else? Did I propose that? Did anyone second it? David did. Perfect. And did we all vote in favour? Yes, we did. Excellent. I'm sorry, I'm trying to rush through because time's really, really short. Is there number 23?
Yeah.
Where's 23 is in the middle of, it's in the middle of 22 on my thing here. To approve payment of invoice number 8012602389 Bristol City Council for £4,940.58. Invoice attached. Sorry, what was that, John? For floral displays on the high street. Okay, that's great. So shall I propose that? Janet's going to second it. All those in favour of paying an invoiced amount? Okay, is there anything else urgent on here? 27 town orderly to consider, and I don't know, do we have time to do this now? Is everyone happy? Oh, confidential item. So can it,
The £25,000, isn't it? So yeah.
let's
it can go there, yeah.
let's push this to the next community matters meeting, if that's all right with you, Emma. Perfect. You'll have to do that as a confidential in community matters, yeah. Is there anything else that we need to execute from this now? Yeah, equally, I don't know if everyone's going to agree, so I think we might need time to just discuss the issues around that. Okay, let's call it there then. Right, so I now hang on, date of the next meeting, isn't it? Do I have to do that first? Is it on the last page? Yeah. When's the next meeting? So the next meeting is the 13th of November 2024. I now declare this meeting closed. Or should I say adjourned? Adjourned, because we're going to have to pick up the other ones.